Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia help Burmese refugees with their financial difficulties. And a physical therapist from Ho Chi Minh City visit Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital for a 2-week medical exchange. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. Since 2005, the Tzu Chi Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter has been working with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees to improve the quality of life for Burmese refugees in Malaysia. Since then, the two organizations have provided medical and educational aid by setting up schools and hosting regular free clinics. Tzu Chi has also begun providing financial support to refugee families to relieve their financial burdens. Next, we join Tzu Chi volunteers on a recent visit to one refugee family.
Arriving at this poorly lit apartment building, Tzu Chi volunteers are here to visit Burmese refugee Rasida and her family, who have been living in Malaysia for 12 years. However, her husband is nowhere to be seen.
Her husband was arrested. They arrested him because he lost his refugee card issued by the UNHCR. Now that the family is without a provider, Rasida has had to find a job to support her family. She is working at a local supermarket now.
A family without a breadwinner, Rasida has had to find ways to put food on the table and pay for her children's tuition. However, basic survival for refugees in Malaysia is challenging at best.
Tzu Chi has decided to provide this family with 150 ringgits every month to help their financial situation. We hope that this monetary support can lessen the burden on Rasida's shoulders.
Since 2005, the Tzu Chi Foundation has been working closely with the UNHCR on a series of short to long-term projects in hopes of improving the quality of life of Burmese refugees in Malaysia.
In Taiwan, as residents in Taoyuan look to get their lives back to normal in the aftermath of Typhoon Salvador, Tzu Chi volunteers headed out to check on their care recipients and other residents affected by the storm to make sure their needs are taken care of. In the aftermath of Typhoon Salvador, Tzu Chi volunteers in Taoyuan headed out to help those affected by the storm. Among their stops was Luofu Elementary.
Sometimes we eat instant noodles for dinner because we have to travel far to purchase food. Also, as there is no hot water here, we take cold showers.
To help, Tzu Chi brought relief items and a letter from Master Zhen Yan.
祈愿灾去人安乐，重整家园后，很快能够回到生活的常轨。
Tzu Chi volunteers also handed out consolation cash to the residents as most have lost their belongings.
These relief items are given to us from the bottom of their hearts. We should keep their love and care in mind and never forget how good they were to us in our time of need.
We distributed relief items to 9 families today. The 10th family will follow up with them at a later time, as none of the family members were present today.
Tzu Chi volunteers hope their loving care can ease the victims' pain and suffering and face the rebuilding ahead. Taoyuan Tzu Chi volunteers also paid a visit to one of their care recipients in Shaulai. Grandmother Huang has long taken care of her son who is bedridden. Even though her health is deteriorating, the grandmother doesn't want to send her son to a home.
This grandmother has diabetes, which has affected her vision. She can't see clearly, and she recently had spinal surgery. It's just all taken a toll on her.
Besides taking care of her son, Grandmother Huang also raised her grandson.
She isn't like other grandmothers who just take it easy in their old days. She still takes care of my father and us,
Giving them the support and strength they need to face the days ahead. Tzu Chi volunteers stand with this family through thick and thin. For the past 6 days, Taiwan's rescue workers and army have been working around the clock to restore order in areas affected by Typhoon Salvador so that residents may resume a normal life as soon as possible. Next, we turn our cameras to Wulai, New Taipei City to see how the selfless contributions of the unsung heroes have made the road to recovery all that much easier for local residents.
Over the past weekend, Typhoon Salvador wreaked havoc on Wulai, blocking roads and severing all communication with the outside world. Thankfully, after days of recovery and repairs, communication is gradually being restored to the region. As one drives closer to the older part of Ulai, the destructive power of the typhoon is evident here, as roads are strewn with rocks and debris, a stark contrast from its former charm.
We are still busy clearing the debris. If the roads are not cleared, we can reach areas further up the mountain. But we can't do this alone. We have to rely on one another's help. This is our home, so the priority is to clean up this area first. Most of our team members are from local indigenous communities.
Having lived in Ulai for 50 years, Mr. Ling feels a deep attachment to his hometown. Another who shares the same sentiment is police officer Huang Shiguang.
I'm also from the indigenous community. I've never experienced a typhoon of such magnitude. My family is safe from harm, but I saw many people from my tribe who have fallen victim to the typhoon. I feel bad about their situation and know what they are going through, but we still need to do our job.
Various volunteer organizations also mobilized to offer their assistance.
We are here to back up the police and firemen with recovery efforts. We brought over some equipment to help them.
Soldiers and rescue workers' presence is a source of stability for residents, as they do everything they can to restore Ulai to its former glory. Surrounded by lush green mountains and the crystal clear Nanshu River, this is what Ulai looked like just months ago. Once known for its beautiful landscape, it is difficult to imagine that this is what has become of it. Flash floods and landslides triggered by Typhoon Sadalor brought widespread destruction to the region. The tons of debris and soil turned the river into a muddy brown. On the old streets of Ulai, piles of debris stood alongside the streets. When the typhoon subsided, all that was left was mud and damaged furniture. Similar scenes of destruction can be seen here in Xindian's Guishan Borough. Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized their efforts to clean up Guishan Elementary, which also bore the brunt of the storm. As Typhoon Sadalor left behind a trail of destruction in its wake, residents can only pray that some state of normalcy is restored as soon as possible.
After Typhoon Sadalor left Taiwan, it struck Fujian, China, and devastated the Huasu community in Fuzhou. Tzu Chi volunteers there also mobilized to help clean up the area, and in doing so, inspired many residents to join the effort.
Mud is everywhere in the Senior Activity Center. On the wall, one can see how high the waters rose. To mobilize people to clean up, local Tzu Chi volunteers send messages through cell phones and social networking sites. In less than 2 hours, 25 volunteers showed up, some taking a day off work and others just returning from Taiwan.
I had to come back since Fuzhou has been flooded. I cannot sit still at home.
Seeing the volunteers at work, 2 women also joined the effort, even though their own houses are still a mess. Residents of Huasu community say they know the volunteers do good deeds, but this time they're seeing it with their own eyes. As local volunteers reach out with a helping hand, they've also inspired love and warmth in hearts of residents.
The Buddha's birthplace of Lumbini gets an average of 700 to 800,000 visitors a year. However, despite this influx of tourists and money, the standard of living for the 1.6 million residents of Lumbini remains shockingly low as the city continues to confront the problems of poverty and lack of access to basic health care. Here in Lumbini, one is far from the hustle and bustle of major cities. The high heat in the summer just adds to the slow pace of life. Cows can be seen standing in the middle of streets, and sheep periodically invade the marketplace.
Every day, vendors from the surrounding countryside will come to sell their goods here. Actually, the main source of income for residents of Lumbini is tourism, followed by agriculture.
Stall owners are almost exclusively males.
They come from a lot of people here are not so educated and they don't have the facilities of education, and they come from an ethnic Hindu background. And particularly for these populations, women coming out for work or women even studying is not so much encouraged.
Problems of rigid cultural traditions and poor sanitary conditions are exacerbated by a general lack of medical resources.
This is the main and only road of Lumbini. That means those seeking medical treatment need to walk the small path through the fields, which means seeking medical care is never an easy prospect.
For residents of Lumbini, seeing a doctor means a long, tiring walk through fields and over rivers. Although 2 hospitals lie within 20 miles of Lumbini, transportation by car is expensive and successful treatment not guaranteed. Thus, many residents will head to their local pharmacy to try to take care of their problems themselves.
Diarrhea and abdomen and skin problem and chest infection. This is children.
While small problems can be taken care of, when facing more serious health problems or snake bites, a common occurrence in Lumbini, most residents can do little but pray.
I have grown up here since my childhood, and I have witnessed so much misery, so much suffering because of lack of health care. There are 1.6 million people who live in around Lumbini and Kapilavastu, and there is no proper health care system. Somebody gets snake bite in the village. That happens very often.
Every year, dozens of people die from snake bites in Lumbini, a tragedy that could be avoided with better access to proper healthcare facilities. For the last 2 weeks, Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital has been home to Dr. Yao, a physical therapist from Ho Chi Minh City's Children's Hospital in Vietnam. Dr. Yao is in Taiwan to study under Dr. Taichung Wei and his breakthrough work using botulinum toxin to help children suffering from cerebral palsy.
Dr. Yao, a physical therapist at Ho Chi Minh's Children's Hospital, is here at Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital to study new treatment options for children with cerebral palsy. Last year, the Rehabilitation Department Director of Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital, Dr. Taichung Wei, presented a paper at a medical conference in Bangkok on the use of botulinum toxin in the treatment of cerebral palsy. Dr. Yao was so impressed with what he had heard that he decided to come to Taichung to study under Dr. Tai.
It is about learning which conditions are amenable to botulinum toxin treatment. Our treatment goal is to get them to go from sitting to standing and how to use their bodies with less tension. We try to teach them all that.
Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital spent 4 months arranging the paperwork for Dr. Yao's 2-week hospital visit. In the time he has been at the hospital, Dr. Yao has been impressed by the level of professional and competency that he has seen.
They have a good skill, and through 10 days, I'm very interested in about the therapy.
Although Dr. Yao will be leaving to return to Vietnam on the 15th, in the time that he has been in Taiwan, he has learned a host of valuable skills and techniques that he will be using on behalf of children with cerebral palsy back in Vietnam.
Baoshan Elementary, deep within Kaohsiung's mountains, has only 10 students, but closing down the school would mean the students would have to commute to the next closest school, which is 30 kilometers away. In order to keep the schools, such as Baoshan Elementary, in operation, the Ministry of Education is implementing vertical teaching here and at 4 other schools which have less than 30 students.
Upstream of the Laonong River in Kaohsiung sits an elementary school 1,500 meters above sea level. The school has only 6 classes and most of them have but only 1 student.
Okay, sit down, please.
In today's English class, there is only 1 student as well.
Okay, say the word.
Cold.
Like this.
The good thing about one-on-one teaching is that the student is focused while the teacher won't be distracted. However, there are no group activities either.
One more time. Happy graduation.
Happy graduation.
What does that mean?
毕业快乐.
Yes.
One thing about learning English is that you have to practice it. Since he doesn't have a classmate to practice with, he can only practice with me. That's these students' biggest disadvantage.
Though the school is small, it is well staffed. The only thing that is missing is more students.
We have but only 10 students here, so the rule of 6 students per class laid down by the Ministry of Education regarding remedial instruction simply doesn't work here.
The closing of the school is being considered so the students here can make more friends in a bigger school. However, remotely located schools such as Baoshan Elementary are more than just a school, but are like a home to their students and the center of their community. Not to mention, the next closest elementary school here is over 30 kilometers away. Today, a group of students from the city is visiting Baoshan Elementary for an eco-camp. The trip from downtown Kaohsiung follows along the treacherous Laonong River Valley and takes 2.5 hours. The normally quiet atmosphere suddenly became livelier with these visitors from the city. The visitors think the school is quite small and isolated, but is also interesting compared to their school. They quickly join their local counterparts in discovering Mother Nature.
如果一撮马尾巴翘起来，有没有毒？没有。为什么没有？因为没有那种虫。
Just learning about caterpillars can get these city dwellers very excited. Such types of exchange can also benefit local students, yet that is still not enough for Baoshan Elementary, which is always running out of funding and is in constant need of outside support to stay in operation.
We hope to turn the school around with vertical teaching.
The principal says this year, Baoshan Elementary will break from the mold and implement vertical teaching.
By mixing age groups together, such as 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and 5 and 6, we can reduce the teachers needed by 3. If some of these schools want to incorporate junior high curriculums as well, the Ministry of Education is supportive.
More residents have moved away after Typhoon Morakot. Now less than 10 families live in Baoshan. If students can stay here to complete their junior high, perhaps there might be hope for the community.
This means we get to have a junior high here, which will really be something. I believe people will come back eventually. Perhaps my grandchildren can attend school here as well.
Closing down schools is not necessarily the best solution to conserving educational resources, as these students living in remote areas still need an education. The existence of these remotely located schools means students don't have to be away from home in order to get a quality education, which is invaluable to these students and their families.
35-year-old Chen Xiaoyan from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, was diagnosed with scoliosis at a young age. While in school, Chen met Tzu Chi, and these guardians in blue and white have been a strong support for her as her condition continues to worsen. With this much love and care in her life, Chen's biggest wish now is to seize all moments to be a good disciple of Master Zhen Yan and walk the Tzu Chi path. At the age of 7, Chen Xiaoyan from Malaysia was diagnosed with scoliosis. By the age of 21, Chen had been forced to use a wheelchair as her condition worsened. Now at 35, the continual deterioration of her body has her very concerned.
如果脚它越来越弱的话，我的手必须要用更多的力。
If my legs are weak, then my arms must make up for it in strength. At times, both my arms and legs give out, and I feel so helpless, as even the most basic movements are difficult for me. That's when I really feel the impermanence of life, and I think that I really need to seize all moments to do the things I want to do.
做自己想做的事。
什么是你想做的事？
去做慈济。
Determined to continue on her Tzu Chi path, Chen Xiaoyan began a new chapter of her life when she met Tzu Chi back in junior college.
The master teaches us that although life may be full of hardships, as long as your heart of compassion is nurtured and you learn how to give of yourself, your life is then filled with fortune.
To slow down her scoliosis, Chen does regular physiotherapy 3 times a week. Tzu Chi volunteers visit her to help her with her exercise, and lately the volunteers have also accompanied her on house hunting trips to help her find a more suitable place to live.
I actually just wish to move closer to the Jingsi Hall.
As a few months ago, it took Chen 20 minutes to get to the Kuala Lumpur Jingsi Hall from her home in her motorized wheelchair for her volunteer training. However, she has no words of complaint, only this.
If you have the heart, the journey is never far.
To help family members of the burn victims of the Body Water Park incident gain a sense of peace, Tzu Chi volunteers at the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital have suggested that they listen to the Master's teachings with them. Recently, a few family members listened to that advice and were able to gain more than inner peace afterward. Miss Yen, who had a family member injured in the Body Water Park explosion, has been joining the morning Dharma lessons with Master Zhen Yen for the past month at the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital. Not only has her mind and spirit been eased, but she has also learned how to give back to society.
When I am out, if I see trash lying there, I pick it up. I am just doing my share for society. I've learned from the volunteers how to give.
Influenced by Miss Yen, Miss Wu, also a parent, has been listening to the Master's teachings at the hospital lobby and later sharing the wisdom with her child.
I am calmer after listening to the teachings. I think the Buddha has helped with my child's injury. The Master shares with us Dharma stories, which I in turn then share with my child.
These family members have gained wisdom to help them overcome the pain and suffering of the tragedy and find an inner sense of peace to overcome their chaotic mind. In New York for the annual Youth Assembly at the United Nations, Tzu Chings and Chi Shaos went to Times Square to promote their Give Me 5 campaign, where they asked passersby to join them in reducing the consumption of water, electricity, gasoline, and time and money wastage. We will leave you with these images at the end of the program. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.